Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers McKay.
And we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to make it one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy podcast. Today is Monday, the 14th of December, 2020. Well, Kristy, here we are, the 14th of another month.
And as you pointed out on our pre-record session this morning, there's really only 2 weeks left of this year.
I know. I had this moment of panic. There's like an unbelievable amount that we have to accomplish in this calendar year, both from a business standpoint as well as just like a life, personal standpoint. And holy hustle, let's get on it, people.
Well, yep.
I don't think that there will be a tremendous amount of relaxing between now and Christmas for anybody, but I think everybody is probably looking forward to the new year and whatever resolutions and wishes and tidings for a new year can be. I think we are all looking ahead to that. So, quick update. Thank you for you and Amelia taking over the podcast on Friday. We had a COVID scare in our house. My daughter and I both got sick with a cold and found out that one of our members of our pod, right, our quarantine pod, actually had tested positive, and she herself was feeling unwell. So it was a bit scary. On Saturday, it had been 7 days since we had seen my friend. This is, part of my socially distant lawn party / walking group. So we did rush, and I did get a rapid results COVID test on Saturday and confirmed that we were in fact negative and that it was just a common cold. But it was the first sick day where I legitimately, even if Brennan had not been sick, I needed a sick day. And it was really stressful. Probably a lot of people are going through that, where you have this intense roller coaster and worry. And I know you guys are wrestling with that in your house. So having to figure out how to dig deep for optimism was a challenge. But I will tell you, what really gave me a huge amount of optimism is that Saturday morning when I logged on to try to recover in the 2 hours that my husband had the baby, as much work lost on the day on Friday as possible, only to find out that our team had delivered an unbelievably perfect Optimist view for the weekend, and everything was just perfect. It was amazing to log on and realize that our team kills it. So my optimism came scurrying back because of the amazing team we have at the Optimist Daily.
Yes, Summers, and I'm glad that you are feeling better. It's sort of ironic that while my household is in virtual lockdown because of the brush we've had, nobody in the house has had any symptoms, which is great, but it's really strange because we're all basically self-isolating in separate rooms in the house. So when we are near each other, everybody's wearing a mask and we're all having meals independently, but nobody so far has developed any symptoms. And then Friday you end up with a cold. And I'm really glad that it didn't turn out to be this still mysterious virus, COVID. And I'm glad you're feeling better. So
yeah, it's just, it's just such a weird time. And it was ironic to us as well, because we had talked about what would our family's plan be, right? And because my little girl is a vector, right? She is, even if she were not a carrier of COVID, she will inevitably be a vector because everybody is part of her parenting tribe, right? Her older siblings, everybody. And the older kids were planning on spending time with their mom over the weekend, but everybody got put on hold until we got this results back. And it was just kind of this moment where we all looked at one another and it was like, all right, well, if this is it, here we go. Like, we're in it, the 5 of us together in this house. And I am glad that we had that conversation beforehand, so it did reduce the stress. And I think that was one of the suggestions in the Optimist Daily article about what to do if a family member tests positive. And part of that was have a plan beforehand.
I think that having that kind of conversation will cut out some of the uncertainty and just putting a plan in place for each household.
Yeah.
So I think Amelia mentioned that on Friday when we were talking about she and her roommates have got a plan in place for if somebody is exposed or is sick. And I just feel like this is a funny period of time because, I mean, you now have a close friend who's come down with it.
Yeah.
My husband has several coworkers who've now tested positive. I know a few people who've dealt with this, and it's not a pretty thing for them. So it is something to be concerned with. It's just much more prevalent and much more present, even though today they started vaccinating people in the United States. And last week it was in the UK. And there's certainly an end in sight, but it is not coming tomorrow.
It's kind of that longest yard. You know?
Yeah. And so we have to keep our vigilance going and just, know it'll eventually be better and different. Yeah. But for right now, holding our breath.
And staying optimistic through the holidays. Yesterday's Optimist View was a fantastic how to stay optimistic during these unprecedented holidays. If you were an Optimist Daily emissary, you received it in your inbox. If not, check it out on the social channels. We're going to get through this, and in approximately 11 days, it will be Christmas, and then in approximately 16 days, it will be 2021. So
I have to say my anxiety right now is just that I don't have my Christmas shopping done at all, and I can't imagine some of the gifts that I want to give even getting here anytime near Christmas. So I'm thinking I'm going to be making lots of nice cards.
Exactly.
With sending my love and that your gift will be coming in the new year kind of thing.
Well, in our family, we celebrate what's known as Little Christmas. It's a holiday traditionally on the 6th of January when the wise men showed up with the gifts. So I have reserved and intended that the majority of our gifts will be delivered on Little Christmas or perhaps my birthday a month later on February 6th.
Yeah. So. Well, and hopefully 2020 will really be done at the end of December because I feel like it might extend deep into 2021, this crazy year we've been living in. It's still March, right?
I will miss on a daily basis getting to say 2020, 2020, the 20th of December. Anyway, we should probably get to today's solution because I think that's probably why people are listening. So, what optimistic solution got your juices of optimism? That sounded gross. How'd you go this morning, Kristy?
My optimism, the thing that charged me up, actually. Well, there's a few. There's a lot of stories today about advances in the technology around electric vehicles and also some in relation to solar cells. And I was torn about what to focus on, but the headline that I'm grabbing is the final story in today's top solutions. And the headline reads that Toyota will unveil an EV with a 10-minute fast charging battery in 2021. And this is an exciting announcement in the world of electric vehicles because they're expecting that Toyota will introduce this electric car that has a 310-mile range and a rapid recharge from 0 to full within 10 minutes. And that really addresses some of the range anxiety concerns that you have with owning an electric vehicle, which I do. And it has definitely changed my driving patterns because I have to consider what kind of charge I have before I start out in the day and make sure that I either have plenty to get me around and doing all the things I need to do, or that there's a place or a time that I can sit and fast charge my car, which takes about 30 minutes with a super fast charger. But this advance is quite exciting because Toyota's EV will be using a new technology, which they've known about for quite a while. It's called a solid state battery instead of the conventional lithium ion battery. And its potential cure-all for some of the range anxiety and the recharge time that you see. And it's also, because it's not using the lithium, it's potentially even safer than a conventional car battery is right now. But it's more expensive to manufacture. It hasn't been done at scale yet. And it's sort of some of the technology hadn't quite been worked out. In fact, in March, I think is when they started reporting that Samsung Advanced Technology Institute, or the Samsung Advanced Institute of Technology and the R&D Institute of Japan had solved at least one of the issues. I don't know if you want me to get into it, but they replaced the lithium metal anodes that are used in solid state batteries and replace them with a thin silver carbon layer. maybe that's the technology that Toyota is advancing. They don't really know because Toyota is kind of moving quickly down this path. And I think this is Toyota's play for really coming back into the 100% EV battery market and trying to get some more market share, which Tesla's been dominating. I know that's a lot of details, but it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think it's really valuable details. I remember back when I was in business school, a decade ago, one of my classmates had a thesis project around fast swap batteries where you would drive into a station and it would be, click, 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 and your battery would go check, check, and you'd take one out and put another one in. The efficiency of charging to mitigate range anxiety is something that is just absolutely imperative for the growth of this industry and the growth of this solution. And so I think that while, from a technical standpoint, it's sort of above my pay grade, I am fascinated by it. And I'm really glad you chose it. And it's when we see solutions like this that, just continue to remind us that these industries that are creating more efficiency and less impact will continue to grow and change. And Kristy and I continually challenge the EV battery world in the sense that we know that has to dramatically improve in order for it to be scalable and reduce, on all ends of production and disposal. So,
the headline, the lead story is about a 2-person solar electric car that has a range of 1,000 miles. So clearly range is one of those things that really is a concern. Well, what's the headline you wanted to focus on today, Summers?
So being the gardener that I am, I got very excited about the headline that reads, "A portable sensor device can help farmers keep their crops healthy." This is from food section. So basically, smart farming techniques are really essential for how we're going to tackle food insecurity and increase sustainable farming practices. And this requires rapid development of new technology. A new tool from scientists at Singapore MIT Alliance for Research does exactly that. Basically, it's a portable leaf clip optical sensor that tells you whether or not the plant is under stress. It gathers data from the plant's chemistry, like nitrogen levels, premature deterioration, and all of the things that might predict loss of yield for the plant.
It reminds me of, those oxygen sensors that you have you put on your finger to see how much your blood oxygen levels are.
Exactly. Well, and so in addition to like nitrogen, it's looking at has there been excess heat or excess cold? Is there saline stress? Is there light stress? Basically, it identifies all of these different stressors so that farmers can quickly ascertain the best next steps to ensure yield and protect their plants. The quote that's here talks about their, doing it clearly observed in popular vegetables like lettuce and spinach, among others, and that it is really, really increasing productivity and yield. So this is, again, an early solution. But what this allows us to see is that as we move into sustainable farming practices in mass agriculture, we can actually use less to get more. And that, I think, is so critical that it can require less input because we have more information. I'm really excited to see that. And I certainly, would love a little sensor that would tell me exactly why my rose geraniums aren't blooming.
No, I was thinking the same thing. I want one for my
cilantro.
My house has like, oh yeah, it's because it's, it has no sun.
This totally reminds me of Moana, which I watch continually on repeat all the time. But at some point, they have a diseased grove of coconut trees, and they could have really used this instead of her having to get on a boat and go restore the heart of Tafiti and sing with the rock and whatever. Yeah, anyway,
I think she wouldn't have had her adventures, and so.
I know. And what would we sing about?
All right. So super quickly.
That's about it. What else do we have? Yeah, real quick. What else do we have?
The other headlines. Well, I mentioned the 1,000 range solar electric car. That one's pretty cool. Go look at that. There's an algorithm that helps the world's poorest people by helping them send cash directly. This is for those who are unbanked around the world. And that's something that has really transformed sort of the financial outlook for many people around the world. The Supreme Court has fully restored DACA protections. We have an article about that today. There's an article about from our own backyard here in Santa Barbara that they are updating a street name from Indio Muerto to Hutash Street, which in Hutash is Chumash for Mother Earth. That's sort of an acknowledgement to Indigenous rights here in California. There's an article about the 7 proven health benefits of ginger. It's great for the winter time that we're now coming into. all these things that ginger does. Herbs and spices that can help boost longevity, talking about some other roots and herbs that are super great to know about. What else, Summers?
54 global cities on track to meet climate target from the Paris agreements. A solar cell technology that offers an impressive record efficiency increase in 30%. And guys, that's it on the Optimist Daily Update today. Thank you all for listening. We promise to continue to share positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for good. If you're up for it, please consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com for $5, $15, or $50 a month, supporting reader-funded independent journalism. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free to all who need it, supported by those who can. Everybody have a great Monday, and we will see you tomorrow.
Hasta la vista.